Hello and welcome back to Tabletop Simulator with the Star Wars Armada module. So I've had a couple of requests about how this works in terms of its setup and fleet design for actual games. So first of all, this is a heavily scripted module. You've got infinite containers of things like speed dials, your ability tokens here, shield dials, campaign tokens, all cards, obstacles, objectives, damage cards are not infinite, dice are infinite, and then you've got all of this. Now, for what I featured in the basic What's All This Then video, we're just going to do how to spawn your ships in from your fleet cards and how to build a fleet. So, let's grab some all cards. You've got all cards there, all cards there. And yeah, so you can infinitely spawn bags like that. We don't need to... Going back into a bit of a pain next, so we'll just skip that. So you pull here, you got your Empire huge ships, which we'll not be using. Your Empire standard ships, which we're not going to use because I'm going to use Rebels. And your Empire squadrons. Here's your standard Rebel ships. Your Rebel squadrons. All upgrade cards, not sorted. Objectives again, spare copy. Damage deck, again, spare copy. Sorted upgrades, custom ship squadron examples. So, to get out this, so sorted upgrades. First of all, you've got your commanders, very important. Then you've got officers, support teams, weapon team, offensive, retrofit, refits, defensive retrofits even, sorry, ordnance, ion cannons, turbo lasers, titles, boarding parties, fleet support, experimental, fleet command, and super weapons. Super weapons, well, I assume you can guess what that is. It's things like that, and that. Which are all part of the new additions to this. Anyway, get the bag out of the way. So, first off, we'll do the how to build a fleet. See, they've added the Starhawks in here, which is that thing over there, which we're going to leave for a while. Again, that's a huge ship, but I'm guessing because the Rebels only have that one as a huge ship. It's separate. It's lumped in there rather than the Empire getting their own stack. Oh yeah, and that's the other Starhawk, obviously, so you can go over here as well. Out of the way. Right. So, first thing you need to decide when building your fleet is what kind of fleet you're going with. Are you going with squadron focused, small ship focused, medium ship focused, large ship focused, mixed ship size, or balance, or whatever. Basically decide what squadron you're going, because the first thing you need to select is your commander, and you select him based on what fleet you're going with. Now we're going with Rebels, unfortunately all of them are in here, so we ignore people like these two, you notice have Imperial symbols on. Now I'm going to use, when I find him, there, I'm going to use a large ship fleet for this demonstration, so we're going to take Admiral Akbar. The reason for this I will show you in just a moment. So, Admiral Akbar. Before a friendly ship's attack step, it may choose to attack from only its left and right hull zones in this round. If it does, you may add 2 red dice to its attack pool while attacking a ship. So basically, 2 extra red dice on your broadside armaments. Now, for this reason, you want to either use... Now, for this, that means your capital ship focuses are the MC-80 Assault Cruiser, the MC-80 Command Cruiser, the M75 Armoured, M75 Ordnance. You do not want the MC-80 Battle Cruiser. Sorry. Make sure you... And you don't want the Star Cruiser, because unlike the Command Cruiser and the Assault Cruiser, they are forward focused ships, not broadside focused ships. So those two can come out of the way. Additionally, if you're going with a smaller ships, you can use Akbar, but I don't recommend it. There are better options. But again, the Assault Frigate Mark II and the Mark IIA, Mark IIB are relatively okay. Things like the MC30 Scout, because they are red-black dice, I wouldn't recommend, because you're adding red dice, but you want to get in close where you're using black dice for them. Same for the MC30 Torpedo. Pelter command ships, a command ship is not meant to be getting in combat. Pelter assault ship, again, black dice. Nebulon B, escort, forward facing, same for the support. CR-90s are corvettes, so ignoring them because we're going for large ship base for now. Same for the hammerheads. And no, we're not taking a GR-75. I'm not doing that. Now you'll notice the scripting options here to spawn. So, obviously it's Admiral Akbar, so I'm going to have his command cruiser for a flagship. So you click spawn, it spawns in. We'll move that up here. Spawns in with the sets of tokens you need for it as well, for defensive use. And if you click here, that will set shields, but I'm not going to do that just yet. So you've got a single MC80 command cruiser. Assuming we're working off 300 point limit, that would be 106 points, plus Akbar's 38. So you are at 144 points spent currently. Just keep that in the chat there. Now I only want one of them, so we click done. That just goes off to be used for stat reference now. And I recommend personally having these obviously under here, off to the side. And because Akbar's on there, we're going to put him there because that's his flagship. Now, upgrades. You'll notice the compatible upgrades list on the bottom. Now, this is an MC80 cruiser. So you've got 443 shields, and you're focusing on broadside armor, but you're fairly slow. You've got okay anti-fighter, blue-black, and you've got 8 health points. This is a command cruiser, so you get 3 command, 4 squadron, 4 engineering. So it works good with fighter squadrons, and can repair itself, so it's very tanky, this ship. Let's look at the upgrades. First off, we're going to, is it under offensive or turbo laser? I'm trying to remember. Basically, we're going to max out his, I think it's under turbo laser. Yeah, because we're going to take boosted comms to improve his fighter command ability. You can activate friendly squadrons at close to long range as they're close to medium, which is good because this is a slow ship. It's probably not going to keep up with the squadrons very well. That adds another 4, so we're at 148. Turbo laser, I believe it was, which I can fit. Modification, if I can quickly. Here it is, enhanced armaments, which adds another red dice to our left and right hull zones, which is what we're already focusing on. And you can take turbo laser, can't it? Yes, can take turbo lasers, so that works. That's another 10 to the cost. 158. Now we can add, and that was a modification which I only have one on. Unfortunately, this means I'm going to trade out my shielding modification. That is also another option if we find it in here. Yeah, so redundant shields, which is basically regenerative shields each turn. As I said, I'm focusing this build on the command cruiser's offensive ability. You can focus on defensive by taking things like that. Now, since I'm going primarily with large ships, I'm not going to have much space for escort, anti-fighter escorts and squadrons. This is often a useful one, which is taking out enemy squadrons, but only if you can be used once. The advanced protectors is useful because it basically lets you shunt the damage rather than to an adjacent hull zone, to the furthest hull zone away from the enemy's incoming fire, effectively extending the area you can divide your shield damage across. So I'm going to have that as well on my ship. So we are up to 164 on Akbar's command ship. Now, notice there's no title symbol on here. That's because titles aren't an upgrade symbol. You can use them on any ship. Now, we are just going to have a quick look at the title. And these are basically ship names. If I remember correctly, it should be under I. Oh no, it's H, because command ship was home 1. Now, you see, that's another friendly ship at distance 1 to 5. If I was going with a lot of small ships, that would be good, because I could add it to them, but we're going to skip this. Now this is a very useful one, Defiance, and you see these are limited by ship symbols. In this case, this is the MC-80 Assault Cruiser, which I can't use on the Command Cruiser. Right, so we have spent 164 out of my 300 point total. So what have we got we can add? Well, the thing is, this is the cheapest 100, but I mean it's mainly black dice, so I don't really want to use that. So that can go back in here. Also, no little tip, if you accidentally click done when you want to spawn something, like say here, you pop it back in the set deck, pull it out again, it resets the scripting. Now, this again, MC-75, not a bad choice, actually got more hull points, has some black dice at the front, good broadside armament, it's faster, and different upgrade trees. But I don't really want to spend that much more in the way of points because I want some squadrons. I'm already over half my total. We're going to skip that and we'll go skip the MC-80 Assault Cruiser. This leaves us assault frigates. So we have two different versions of the assault frigate. People might be wondering what's different. The difference is this one has Squadron Command 3. And that is literally almost it. Yeah, sorry. This one has Squadron Command 3, and this one gets an extra blue dice in its forward and rear arcs. That is it. So this is a more, I'm on my own. Oh, and this gets 2 blue anti-fighter, whereas this one. So this is better use if you're commanding your squadron-based fleet, and this is your frigate command ship. This is better use if you're supporting capital ship fire. Since we're going capital ship fire, we're going to go with the Assault Frigate Mark 2A. Just spawn that in. Goes up here. And that of course adds another 81 points. So 65, 2, 4, 5 is spent. Now, at this point I have only got 55 points left I can spend on squadrons. So I'm going to spend squadrons and then we'll see if I can fit any upgrades onto the assault frigate with 8 points to spare. So let's take a look at squadrons. It's the rebels, so now you notice these are named, which means you can do things like that. So X-Wing squadrons are 13. Rogue squadron, because of course Rogue squadron, they're just better X-Wing squadron for 1 more point. A-Wing squadron, very good anti-fighter. Gold squadron, which are a fairly good bomber squadron for Y-Wings, but we've also got green squadron, which are blue, hang on, where's blue? Right, for some reason when they did this game they didn't make blue A-Wings and green B-Wings, which is basically what's standard in the, remember, but never mind. Because if you're going to use bombers, B-Wings are generally a better bet than Y-Wings. Y-Wings are cheaper though. I'm not going to go with heroes because basically they do take quite a few more points. See, Luke here is 20 points. Wedge is 19. So we will skip that. We will just use some X-Wing and some B-Wing squadrons. So Rogue squadron is 14 points, so we're up to 259. Now they're a name squadron, so you can only have one of them. Rogue squadron. So what do we have? We have 41 points. So let's see. If I could get 2 more X-Wing squadrons, that is 26 points. Which leaves me with 15, which means I could also fit a single B-Wing squadron in. Hello, so drawn 2 X-Wing. 26 points used. That leaves me with 15, which I will then spend 14 of on one B-Wing squadron. And voila. You now have a fairly effective fleet. One Mon Calamari cruiser, 3 X-Wing squadrons, a B-Wing squadron. Now, your biggest weakness is you have to turn sideways on to focus, which means you basically want to be splitting your ships up around an enemy, so you want to bracket an enemy between you. This means they can do the same to yours. If they do it to the slightly less durable assault frigate, you're going to have problems. You've also invested all your upgrades in a single ship here, which means this might draw fire, but actually that's what you want. You're also not going enough squadrons to properly escort both ships. You've only got 4, and one of those is primarily a bomber squadron. That said, the X-Wings are fairly multi-purpose, and Rogue Squadron in particular has got the rogue rule, is very effective at intercepting enemy fighters because it can move and attack. So this is probably your primary defensive squadron. You probably want to pair one of the X-Wings with the B-Wings to take advantage of the escort rule. So basically what happens is a squadron engages this, it can't attack anything else apart from this squadron that don't have... It can't attack the other squadrons that don't have escort, which would be Rogue Squadron and B-Wing Squadron. So you'd also want to pair an X-Wing Squadron with Rogue Squadron, which is how it would divide up. So you'd be running 2 pairs basically, and you'd be using the fact you've got boosted comms on and the 4 squadron command value to basically get these moving before your enemy and taking the initiative of them. Also, you don't have anyone available to give you a gameplay demonstration of this fleet combination with, but that's a general idea of how you set it up, how you build your fleet. As I said, you can focus your fleet around lots of different things. As I said, you can do small ships, large ships, squadron focus, etc. But if I just find them in here, you can, if you are mad, I say mad because this is absolutely an insane idea. Wanted to, I find the blasted things in this pile. There they are. Your MC-30 torpedo frigates. If you wanted to, you could... In fact, hang on, let me get this out. You could basically get yourself multiple ones of these, fit them out using these kind of modifications to just so your plan is basically charge in. You don't put one of these per ship. Basically, I'd also add the the ones that aren't using this, I put the defensive fuel regen modification on. You can basically also, I don't know why this says you can put turbo lasers on. You don't have red dice by default, but anyway, they're fast. They're not very durable, they're not very good at taking out fighters, but if you get them in close, you've got 3 black dice each side. You can up that to a 4 black dice with this, or you can spread your damage out with this. You get the idea. Basically, you could, if you want, make yourself an entire group of MC-30Cs and just charge the enemy and batter them to death with mass salvos of torpedoes. Not recommended, however, because against anything that's got a decent broadside, yeah, you'll catch eventually, but it'll just turn side onto you and obliterate you before you get near it, because you've only got 3 shield and 4 hull. You've only got effective 7 HP from one direction. And, well, let's put it this way. AMC-80 command cruisers, the way I set it up, you've got Akbar adding 2 red dice. So you've got enough, and you've got enhanced armor adding a 3rd red dice. So you have got 6 red dice and 3 blue dice on one side of this ship. And that is a ridiculous amount of firepower to put out. In fact, actually, we will just work it out for you. Get some blue dice in. Now, these come with 4 defensive tokens. So, So that would negate 3. And then they could half the damage with the, assuming you negate both evades, and then it just leaves a redirect as I recall. Where's my... Yeah, where's my guide for redirect? Yeah, so this will let you shunt. This can, in practice, give you an extra 3 shield HP. 1 redirect, but you can shunt any amount up to knocking out the shields on it. So assuming they shoot you at the front, because you're going to be rushing them, that effectively gives you 6, 10 HP. The optimal damage, assuming you can get the optimal damage by negating 3 of the 4 defensive tokens. Actually, no. You have an accuracy on these, so you'd want 4 accuracy, and then you'd want double damage on the rest of these. So assuming an optimal roll against for example an MC30 C, you would get 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 damage. You could, in theory, assuming perfect rolls, one-shot that ship with this MC80 command cruiser setup. It's not likely, because you need to get all 4 of these accuracy to negate the defensive tokens from being used to negate the damage, and then you need to roll all 5 double damage. But that's one broadside could effectively wipe that ship out. And this is why I don't favour the small ships in this game. You can use them if you build very, very specifically for them. But the problem is if you've not got something bigger, like an MC80 to tank, which is using up, well, again, compared to this, it's almost twice as many points I'm putting in to that MC80. Then one single ship, if it gets a good roll, can just blow you out of the sky. And that's one ship. That's before you account for the second ship, the squadrons, etc. And if you've got to get in close with black dice, which you do, they get probably at least 1 free turn of firing at you. But you're not going to be able to do anything. I mean, this turn side on, you have to get... It can wait for you to come to it in that scenario. And, well, you can't shoot back. You've got black and blue dice, or black and red. You might get a couple shots in, but they're red dice. You've got 2 red dice. That's optimal 4 damage before negation. These have 4 shield on their side, and can have 1 turn regeneration built in, plus 4 engineering command. Which, if you look at this, repair tokens from the engineering... 2 points, recover 1 shield. And you get value 4. So you can put 2 shield back each time. You use one of those. So yeah, this is generally why I favour large ship or squadron focused with a command cruiser, because small ships aren't durable enough that if one large ship gets a good roll, you are just dead. Again, it's highly unlikely, but again, like I said, optimal roll with my single command cruiser setup will obliterate an MC30 from any direction. And that's before we account for things like critical damage if we don't get optimal rolls, but you can deal extra damage through criticals, causing 1 extra hull damage, or hull damage through shields in some cases. Yeah, so that's it. Hopefully this has been a bit more informative. Sorry for my actual fleet composition rant at the end there, that was not intentional. But yeah, hopefully it's informative of how you set up, how you pick your fleet builds and so on. Goodbye.